Welcome to the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by No Halftime. Use promo code BBALL100 to get up to a $100 deposit bonus to use in the app. You can find the No Halftime app on the Apple Store and Amazon.com. This episode is also sponsored by Draft, a daily fantasy app where your chances of winning are almost 3 times better than on FanDuel or DraftKings. On Draft, it's draft day every day. You can do a simple snake draft for one day whenever you want. Drafts take just minutes to complete. Download Draft now. Be sure to enter the promo code DFBPOD when you download to get a 100% deposit bonus. And with that, we are off. Welcome to the show for Tuesday, December 13th, 2016. A very nice little tricky 6-game slate for Tuesday. Lots of injury news that's I think is going to play out as the day progresses. And I think it's going to be a fun little slate that we can attack if we do the proper research and analyze the games properly. Otherwise, hope you guys had a good Monday. I had a nice Monday, and I know most of you guys who follow the Judge, who listen to the pod, also had a good Monday. It was, it was one of the good days where almost all the guys that I was on hit, and not a whole lot of dream killers for the most part. Mostly dream lovers, which is glorious. That's why we play, right? So it's, these days can be few and far between. It's, it's very hard to predict. But, if you have a good process in place, which I think I've done and I've illustrated over the past couple of years, you're going to have nights like this. It's going to happen. Like I said, you can't really predict when it's going to happen, but you know it's going to happen. You have a good process. You pick the right players, and eventually the players are going to do what they're supposed to do. So very good night overall, and it was good interacting with a lot of you guys on Twitter. I know a lot of followers, even the ones who are new to DFS and new to the pod, had some of their best nights ever. So that's really cool. I'll give a couple shout outs in a second, but first, let me talk about the sponsor Draft for a second. You guys know the sponsor, right? Most of you've been paying attention. It's been good because I let the bailiff know, my dog. I told that Harris, that's the bailiff's name. He's a French bulldog, by the way. So a lot of you guys ask about my dog on Twitter. Let him know, look, if people are not downloading the app Draft and using the correct promo code DFBPOD, we are going to come visit you, and we're going to have to lock you up. That's right. We're going to put you in prison. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of jail the Chambers jail would be. It wouldn't be too bad. We'd have you can watch basketball in there and still play DFS. So again, though, if you could support the podcast, obviously means a lot. If you guys are making money, you like hear me ramble, hear me stutter, hear me up late at night. It does help me out, and it will allow me to keep the podcast going. So do that. Also, if you've downloaded it and you did not enter the promo code, just let me know. Just send me a tweet, and I'll make sure that gets rectified. With that said, let's move on. Oh, first let's talk Chambers, because I want to give a special shout out to my boy Matt Millions. He won over $1,000 on Monday night. He obviously won Chambers. We had two Chambers going. He won one of them. It was his 5th cash in Chambers, his 2nd win. He put up a score of 362.8. That score would have won the Slam, which is the $25 tournament on FanDuel. In the first place is $20,000 for that tournament. He would have won almost any GPP that was going, especially the single entry ones, and also some of the really high entry ones as well. So just an unbelievable performance by him. He's been following me, I think, all year. I don't remember if this is his 2nd year following me or just first, but congrats. I mean, that's when you get a night like that, just enjoy it. I know a lot of people are already telling him on Twitter, like, oh, you should have played the Slam or should have done this. That there's always going to be people saying that. Just savor, you can always get greedy. Just enjoy what you want. If a win's a win. If you win $2 or $1,000, obviously $1,000 is better than $2, but still, it was just a really great night. So anytime one of our listeners has a night like that, it's really good to see. And that's happened. We've had that happen at least four or 5 times this year where we've had someone win over $1,000. So it's good to see. Other than that, I want to also give a shout out to our Erd Spider, Daniel Erde. He was the number 1 ranked player in Chambers last week. I think he slipped down to maybe 3, 4, 5 or something like that in this week's rankings. I know he's still up there. He also had a really good score of 339.9. And that little mother effer, he defeated the judge. The judge took third in that chambers, which annoyed me because I thought I was going to win both chambers. And then the judge took down the other chambers. But I want to give a quick shout out to King Poise. He finished second in the other chambers, and MG Fresh. And I think for both those guys, they're both newbies. So congratulations on your first chambers cash. Like I was saying, for me, I had a good night too. Not as good as my boy Matt Millions, but I think I posted my results as well, which I don't really like to do a whole lot. But occasionally I will just let you know that the judge is here. The judge is making money, so I think I made like $400 or $500 on the night, which that's a solid night. So can't complain with that. Dream killers, dream lovers. Like I said, not a whole lot of dream killers in my lineups, but they still were out there. And it looks like I forgot to put them on my sheet before the show. That's how you met. Man, doing shows at 3 in the morning, you make little errors like that. That's okay. I off the top of my head, I remember the dream killers. You always remember them. Kemba Walker. We mentioned him on the show yesterday. I really liked the play. He was the one guy that I did have in a couple lineups. He wasn't a core player for me, but I liked it. I don't regret playing him at all. I think it was still the right move. He was too cheap. He just didn't come through. He was like a 7.4K, I think he was, and only gave you like 22 FanDuel points. He must be playing hurt because he's too good of a player to be putting up, to be that low in salary, and then also to have his production be that poor. So I'm gonna keep playing Kemba, but he's clearly got something going on with him. He just didn't look right. He was really tentative, and a really bizarre. That Charlotte game was really bizarre. Other than that. One second. I'm trying to think. I want to find a couple other dream killers. It's no fun only talking about dream lovers, right? Where are some entries that I did not win at? Let's see. Just while I'm looking at this, just download draft challenge the judge. Remember, that's my name on the app draft. You have to spell it the judge. You can challenge me there. Oh, you know who else was a dream killer? Was Kyle Lowry. That Waffle House. Actually, he's a Panera Bread now. Last year he was a Waffle House. 2 years ago he was a Waffle House when he was just sloppy and gravy was rolling out of his behind like Al Jefferson and those boys. But this was actually got the judge angry. I was listening to some other shows, and they were saying how horrible of a play John Wall was and how elite of a play Kyle Lowry was on Monday. On Monday. And it just something rubbed. I don't know why I got so offended at that. John Wall was, and I mentioned this on the show yesterday. John Wall was a great play on Monday. He was very safe for cash, and he was fine for tournaments too. I played him, and I know a lot of you guys did as well, and I'm glad. I mean, yeah, they're playing Miami, and Miami's defensive first position is okay, but there's really no rationale as to. I mean, he's got 35% usage rate, John Wall. That number alone means that you're a pretty safe play. So didn't understand why the whole industry didn't want you playing John Wall. He was like 14% owned, I think, in the slam or something, which was way too low. Hopefully you took advantage of it. He put up 50 FanDuel points, and it was just a nice play. So anyway, he was not a dream killer, but Kyle Lowry was only 29 FanDuel points for him. And that's the difference between Wall and Lowry. I mean, Lowry has a usage rate of about 26%, and Wall's is 35%. And that's a big difference. And that's why, and they're somewhat similar in price. And that's why if I have to choose between the two, I like using usage rate as a tiebreaker in a lot of cases. I mean, when you have DeMar DeRozan, have it with like a 35% usage rate, and plus Toronto ended up blowing out Milwaukee, so that also hurt Lowry on Monday. I still thought he wasn't a horrible play, but still, it's just, I mean, I think there is something to that. And also, I'm not going to mention this guy's name, but there's a certain show I watch almost every day. Every guy that this guy says don't play, I'm just going to play from now on. Because, I mean, there's been 5 or 6 times this year where he's been so wrong on every player. Anyway, it just annoys me. It's like dream lovers. Lots of those. CP3 had a really nice game, even though Blake did play. Dragic had almost 50 FanDuel points again. James Harden was terrific. I mean, to me on Monday, Harden and Cousins were cores for me. I just had to have them in my lineups, and I built around those two. So I couldn't get as much Chris Paul as I wanted to. I couldn't get as much Blake as I really wanted to, for that matter, because I just thought Harden and Cousins were so dominant in such elite spots at their position. I wasn't going to be able to make up their points. So I went all in on those two, and it paid off. The one guy that I didn't play, and the reason why I won hundreds and not thousands, and that's Finney Smith for Dallas. He had a career high, which was only 13 actual points, but he put up 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. He's a guy that does do a lot of the peripherals. He was only like 6% owned. He wasn't really on my radar. So if you I know Matty Millions played him, and a couple other people did. If you did, congrats. It was a sneaky play. I overlooked it, and so good job for you. Luol Deng again. He put up like 30 FanDuel points again. He was like 10% owned or so, or less in most tournaments. So just remember, if you can get a 3.7, a minimum price player, I think Luol Deng was like 3.7K, and he can give you 30 FanDuel points, which Luol Deng is starting to do now on a somewhat consistent basis. It's hard to not plug that guy in. For me on Monday night, a similar guy was DeMarre Carroll, DeMarre Carroll is a little bit more expensive. I think he was like 4.2K or something, but he gave me 24 FanDuel points so easily. And now the problem was Toronto, as I mentioned, Toronto blew out Milwaukee, so he didn't see a lot of minutes. But it was just, when you get a really nice safe play like that opens up the whole rest of your lineup, and lets you get those superstars who can give you the big numbers. It really is can be the key to the whole night. So keep an eye on Luol Deng right now. Jokic, I don't know how much longer Mike Malone cannot start him, because Jokic he's playing so well. He's still not even getting 24 minutes a night. I mean, I swear to God, Jokic had like 10 FanDuel points. I went outside to walk my dog. I come back, he's at like 35 FanDuel points. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? He's just that good. He's a fantasy point per minute monster. So I expect his minutes to rise, and I expect Mike Malone, quite honestly, to be fired. Denver is a mess. Evan Turner and Miles Turner, both the Turner boys. I know a lot of us played Harkless. Evan Turner had the better night. I always throw Evan Turner in 1 GPP because I just think he's a really under-the-radar play. No one ever plays him except me. So he had a really good night. Mason Plumlee. I played Cousins, so I couldn't get Plumlee in a lot of lineups. But he had over like 45 FanDuel points. He was terrific. So if you played him, congrats. I just couldn't pull the trigger because I just wanted Cousins. And then Cousins had a great game. He had almost 60 FanDuel points. Just a beast. I mean, it was just that matchup against the Lakers was just too juicy to pass up for me. So again, really great night. Let's enjoy it. But we move on. We cannot rest on our laurels. We move on to Tuesday night. We want the same thing to happen. Let's make a lot of money again on Tuesday. So let's go over to injuries. Marc Gasol is going to be out. They're resting him, which is annoying because they didn't play on Monday. So he rested on Monday. Why does he need to rest Tuesday? But whatever, we can take advantage of that. I would assume that they're going to start JaMychal Green and Zach Randolph at the 4 and 5, unless I hear differently. So both those guys are going to be nice plays on Tuesday. Kent Bazemore for Atlanta's, I think, questionable. Vucevic and Bismack are both questionable for Orlando. If those guys are both out, I mean, I guess Serge Ibaka and Aaron Gordon become really nice plays, which I know both those guys have hurt us this year at various times, but both have been playing a little bit better, so I don't mind attacking that. And quite honestly, like, injury news is one of the things that I love the most. I love when injuries happen because that's when, actually watching the games, I think, helps me the most because I've seen all the backups play. And, I'm not just, looking at numbers and trying to figure out who to play, which also you can do that as well. And sometimes that works. But I find I get an edge of actually watching the games a lot from watching, whenever the backups do get extra minutes. That's why, I knew to play TJ McConnell, I think it was Sunday, and various things like that. Alex Len is questionable, I think. Tyson Chandler had a monster game for Phoenix on Sunday, I think it was. So I guess if Len's out, he's going to get a lot of minutes. And Oladipo, this is a big one, I think. Oladipo has a sprained right wrist. He's questionable. If he's out, I was trying to think about who's OKC is going to roll with. I mean, I guess they'd go Anthony Morrow would be the guy who picking up most of those minutes. I mean, Anthony Morrow, he's similar to Roberson. He just stands in the corner and hopefully Westbrook passes him and he shoots. But quite honestly, I mean, the biggest beneficiary of Oladipo being out, I think, is Westbrook, which is hard to see how he can even be a better play. But I think that's who it would benefit. And also maybe guys, someone like Steven Adams or something like that, because they're going to need someone else to score a little bit besides Westbrook. And the other guy would be Morrow, because Morrow is a guy, he can shoot. So he's going to get some looks, and I think he's like the minimum. All right, let's move on to the actual game. So like I said, it's 6 games. The judge loves a 5 to 7 to 8 game slate. So this is right in my wheelhouse. Took advantage of it on Monday. Let's do it again Tuesday. 2 over-unders are not up yet. Orlando, Atlanta, probably because the Vucevic and Bismack injury is still up in the air. And then OKC, Portland, there's no over-under because of Oladipo. But the OKC Portland game, that's going to have a monster over-under, and that will be a game I want to attack if Oladipo plays or he doesn't. Golden State at the Pelicans, 224.5. Golden State's a 10.5-point favorite. All kinds of guys we can attack in that game. Although it's getting very annoying to roster any Warrior. It's just like I don't know. I mean, I think their ceilings are all so reduced this year. Now they have 4 superstars, so it's tough. The Knicks at the Suns. This is my favorite game of the night. Knicks are favored by 3.5. Phoenix plays first or second in the league in pace. The Knicks are okay defensively, but not great. But the Knicks are playing way up in pace, and there's just so many good players from this game to attack on Tuesday. It's so juicy. So we'll dive into it in a little bit, but just it's fantastic. Minnesota, Chicago, 209 over under. The Memphis at Cleveland is the lowest over under of the night, 201.5. Cleveland's a 13.5-point favorite, and with Gasol being out, I mean, and Conley's out. I mean, obviously the Cavs should blow them out, but as I was mentioned on yesterday's show, I'm not going to let the potential of a blowout. If I really like a player, it's not going to dissuade me from playing him. I'm just not going to do it anymore. Maybe I'll reduce my exposure a little bit to that player, but there's some guys from Memphis that I still want to play. So I'm going to do it on Tuesday. Talk about pace a little bit. The teams I want to target the most, you guys know I like to target teams playing up in pace. The teams playing down in pace, not so much. Up in pace, absolutely. So the Knicks, ding, 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 playing way up in pace against Phoenix. The Pelicans playing way up in pace against the Warriors. And the Trailblazers playing up in pace on a back-to-back against OKC. And Orlando. Orlando playing up in pace against Atlanta. Orlando can be a team that we don't want to roster because they're so disgusting. They've been up and down all year. But there are some guys to attack from that game. All right, shall we move on real quickly? Looking at defensive versus position before we jump into the actual players, seeing if anything sticks out. I guess I can note Atlanta. I mean, the thing about the Hawks, you can attack the Hawks, with Millsap and Howard defend big men and power forward and center really well, but you can attack them at the point guard and shooting guard position. So I think Evan Fournier is a guy who's in a good spot. He put up a really nice night against Denver because, you guys should say it with me now. Who do we attack? We attack the Denver shooting guards, and we attack the Portland power forwards, the Portland bigs. Don't worry, I'll get you guys say it with me, even if you're saying it in your car, in your office, in your, in class, wherever you're listening to the podcast. I'll get you to remember who to attack. But so for Atlanta, you can attack Dennis Schroeder, and you can attack whoever the hell is playing shooting guard for the Hawks these days. Also, what else sticks out for me? Anything? What's interesting about the Pelicans? Anthony Davis, you can attack the hell out of. They give the 3rd most FanDuel points to opposing power forwards. I thought that was interesting. In terms of shooting guard position, you can attack Cleveland. You can attack Cleveland at the point guard position. Most people know, but looking at the DVP is not that great this year. They give up like the 11th fewest points. So I don't know if they give up like the 10th most points. So yeah, you can attack them at. So basically, Cleveland is similar to Atlanta. You can attack them at both guards positions. You can attack them point guard and shooting guard, which makes sense. I mean, because J.R. Smith, even though I think he's not playing right now, he's not a great defender when he does play. And other than that, nothing really sticks out. There's nothing like Brooklyn playing where you can attack every position. I guess the other thing I'll say is who's playing again? Portland. So what did I just say? You attack Portland bigs, right? So attack that the power forward and center for OKC is going to be in play, and that's why Enes Kanter I am going to load up on Enes Kanter. I am hammering my gavel down on the desk. Kanter's been getting extra minutes anyway lately. With Oladipo maybe out. Kanter, I don't think I can still pull the plug in cash because it's still a little risky. But he's been getting over 24 minutes lately, and he's going to destroy Portland on Tuesday, and I cannot wait. And also Steven Adams is a nice play because you can attack the Portland center spot too. All right, let's move into each individual position, my friends. Let's start point guard. Westbrook's in play. Or I say Westbrook's playing. So that's the first question, right? I mean, on every day, the first thing you got to ask is whatever stars, kind of playing, you have to figure out if you're going to play them or not because they dictate how you're going to spend the rest of your lineup. If on Monday, for me, it was I had Cousins and Harden, and from that, I had to plug guys in from there. And on Tuesday, the first decision you got to make, the two big guys in play are Anthony Davis, who's 11.9K, and Westbrook. And you got to figure out, are those guys going to be in your lineups? You're going to play them as cores. How much exposure do you want? And also you have LeBron and Durant are pretty expensive too. But Westbrook's 12.6K. That's really pricey. I mean, quite honestly, as well as he's been playing in real life, he hasn't been that great. You haven't had to play him. If you're looking at the winning lineup in slams and in big GPPs, the last few games that Westbrook's played, he has not been in the winning lineups. He really hasn't. The problem here on Tuesday, as of right now, there's not a whole lot of value at point guard. Normally we have, like on Monday we had guys like Rajon Rondo, or not Rondo. We had guys. Darren Collison had a decent game. Tyler Johnson. You had Patrick Beverly. You had several options on Monday. Usually you have several options. This slate, I don't see it. I mean, when you'll see in a few minutes, there's not a whole lot of point guard guys I like under like 6K. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using Westbrook and cash, even at that price. I mentioned, I love attacking Judi Dench, Dame Judi Dench Lillard's defense. So that's a plus for Westbrook. Oladipo being out, that would be another plus for Westbrook. Obviously his usage rate of 45.4%, which is just insane. It's phenomenal. I mean, normally on the year, this is why DVP can be so misleading. This can't be right. Portland only gives up the 6th fewest points to opposing point guards. That cannot be right. Is my spreadsheet wrong? Is the judge's spreadsheet off? Whatever. I'm gonna pretend that I didn't read that out loud because that I don't know how it's possible. Anyway, so Westbrook, to me, he's an elite play. Again, and the problem is this is the question you have to ask yourself. So let's say Westbrook gives you 60 FanDuel points, which quite honestly, that's what he needs to hit value. He needs a little more than that, quite honestly. But if he gives me 60, will I be fine making that up with other guys? And on Monday, I don't feel confident about that. I really don't. Normally I would. But for Tuesday's slate, I just need Westbrook in my cash game lineup for sure. And I also will have a ton of exposure in tournaments. I still need to decide if I want to use him as a core player or not, because that is pricey. When you're plugging a guy at 12.6K, it hampers the rest of your lineup. But as we get through the whole slate, you'll see it. There's not a ton of other elite guys I really want to play. So Westbrook, I might roll him out as a core in cash games and tournaments, quite honestly. It's just, even though he hasn't been giving me the 70, 80 FanDuel point night lately, I mean, let's see. It's been 15 games since he's been in the 70s. So he's been great. He's been in the 50s and 60s almost every game. But, I think he's due for one of these 70, 80 FanDuel point nights. So obviously elite play. Now Westbrook's up against Dame Lillard. Judi Dench is on a back-to-back, played the Clippers on Monday night, and he actually played well against Chris Paul. I was as proud as you can be of a Tin Man. Yeah, he put up 44 FanDuel points, which isn't value, but it's close. I'm a little nervous of the back-to-back. I'm glad it's at home. It's at Portland for him. Now, Westbrook and OKC give up the third most fantasy points to opposing point guards, so I love attacking Judi Dench. I love attacking Westbrook. So I will absolutely game stack this in a couple lineups. And I think right now, quite honestly, in my cash games, I have Westbrook and Lillard as I'm spending way up at point guard, and I'm going value city at shooting guard, a small forward, and power forward, and then spending up a little bit at center. Now, I'm not saying that's how it's going to end up on Tuesday night, but as of right now, that's what I'm doing. I think Lillard, he's just in such a juicy matchup here. I mean, Westbrook plays no defense because he exerts so much offense on the offensive end, or so much energy on the offensive end. I love the Lillard play, and I'm not a Lillard fan, as you guys probably know. I don't play him a ton, and quite honestly, his production, I mean, he needs to give us almost 50 FanDuel points at value, and he's done that like 2 or 3 times in the last 10. So, but when he doesn't do it, he usually gets pretty close. But I do like the Lillard play on Tuesday, and I think it's pretty safe, even though it is a back-to-back. Steph Curry, that's a tournament play only. I'm sick of these Golden State bums, and that's right, I'm calling Curry a bum. Because, I mean, look at his production. It's 42, it's 27, 36, 44, 40, 34, 42, 34. Like, that's – what is that? That's not exciting. That's – he needs to give us 45 really to hit value, and he hasn't done that in almost 10 games or so. And he's still playing pretty well. He's given you some decent assists, some decent points. I think his shooting percentage hasn't been that great on this road trip that Golden State's on right now. And they do have a possibility of a blowout here against the Pelicans. I mean, so I'll throw Curry in a tournament lineup, but he obviously has 80. He could go off, but I don't need a ton of exposure to him on Tuesday. Bledsoe, 8.5K. So Bledsoe's price has risen drastically, and that's because he's had a couple really nice games. He's had 48 and 55. But let's not forget who he is. He also had before that a 29 and 23, and he's like Will the Thrill Barton, except obviously much better player. But Eric Bledsoe right now is a roller coaster. If you're going to Magic Mountain this weekend, you're gonna probably see Eric Bledsoe on the roller coaster banging his head because he could put up a 50 FanDuel point night or a 20 FanDuel point night. It's tough to predict at this point, so I don't like using them in cash games. Although I do love this Knicks games, this Knicks Phoenix game. I don't like that price, but I'm going to stack that game a little bit. Derrick Rose defense doesn't scare me. I love Bledsoe's usage rate of 29%, which surprisingly is only he's got the 6th highest usage rate out of the point guards on the slate. There's some point guards on Monday. When you look at their usage rates, it's actually pretty surprising. We'll get to those guys in a second. But so Bledsoe's fine, but probably tournaments only. And just remember the prices come up. So you're not getting him at a discount. He's like an 8K player, not 8.5K. Kyrie Irving. Wow, he's one guy. He let me down big time a few nights ago. A couple nights ago, I had a really good night too, and he basically pulled a Kemba Walker on me and put up 20 FanDuel points. But the good news about Kyrie, similar to Kemba, a couple of bad games. What does that mean? The price has come down. This is the cheapest I've seen Kyrie in 2 years. He's 7K. I'm telling you, it's the holiday season. Let's go shopping tomorrow. Let's buy something. Let's buy something, and let's buy some Kyrie. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Judge, blowout potential. Sure, it's there. But I still think he's relatively safe for cash games. If you don't have enough to spend up at both spots, you can't get Westbrook and Lillard. I don't trust Curry and Bledsoe. I still, even in the cash game, remember yesterday, even on blowouts, starters are basically playing like 2 minutes less. That's not going to dissuade me from attacking and using Kyrie Irving. There's no Mike Conley from Memphis. Who's guarding him? Harrison. I don't even care if they put Tony Allen on him a little bit. And I'm sure Tony Allen's probably going to be guarding LeBron for a decent amount of that game. So I love Kyrie at 7K. I'm all about bargain shopping. So Kyrie, safe for cash. Want to throw him in tournaments? That's fine too. And Kyrie's usage rate, the 3rd highest out of point guards, 30.5%, which is delicious. Next up, Dennis Schroeder. The thing about him is his usage rate, 29.4%. That's crazy high. I don't know why the hell they're letting him have the ball in his hands that much. Give the ball to Dwight, give it to Millsap. Like, that's too high for him. His price has come up a little bit. It's 6.9K, but it's come up because look at that usage rate. Of course it's come up. Of course he's had really good production. 40, 34, 38, 26, 35, 46, 35. I mean, the Hawks went through a stretch where they were playing really bad basketball. He was the only guy that was playing well, and now they seem to turn it around a little bit. And he's another guy. I mean, I mean, the problem here is Schroeder's the same price as Irving. So if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to choose Kyrie in cash games. Although if you want to, you go Schroeder, and you certainly could go that way if you want to go a little contrarian. And sometimes even in cash games, if I think everyone's going to be on a player, and I think someone has an elite matchup, I'll switch it up if they're similar in price. I'll pivot, and move and go to the other guy. I like to do that at shooting guard to go over to Nick Batum a lot of nights, but I just don't love the matchup for Schroeder. I don't love the Orlando game, even though you can. Let's see, where's Orlando? Yeah, I mean, Orlando's middle of the pack in defending the point guard position. I don't love the play. I don't love the price tag on him. I prefer Kyrie over him. But for tournaments, sure. I mean, you can do it. He has been playing really well. And the usage rate, you can't argue with that. Like, anyone with a usage rate that high, I think it is worth a look. Derrick Rose, 6.8K. I love the Phoenix game. I don't like Derrick Rose. I don't like his price is also rising. So we basically have Rose, Schroeder, and Irving very similar in price. And I mean, in terms of the pace, Rose has the best matchup by far. And also Phoenix gives up the 6th most FanDuel points to point guards. So as much as this is what's frustrating. I would go Irving in cash over Rose, and I would go, even though Rose is fine for cash too, but I just hate Rose. So I would still probably go Irving in cash for me, and I would go Rose in tournaments. I think Rose is almost an elite tournament level play on Tuesday. In that getting as much as you can of that Knicks Phoenix action is going to be nice. The problem with Rose, he's now 6.8K, so he's got to give us 35 FanDuel points. And as well as he's playing, they do have Melo and Porzingis, and he's somewhat of a one-trick pony. He's relying a lot on actual points lately. He's not a true point guard, as we all know. Anyone who's watched Rose play over the years. So still, a very nice play. Love the matchup. Annoyed that the price tag has come up to 6.8K, but actually it's a good move by FanDuel, because otherwise, if he was like 6K on Tuesday, I think we all would play him. So the price gives me a little pause, but still fine. Rajon Rondo, 6K. So he's been bad lately. He's 20, 38. He had a good game against the Spurs. He plays well on national TV. He really does. 14, and then he had a game of 4, which was just brutal. He's another guy that I am a little nervous to play in cash, and that's why I told you at the top of the show. Right now I have Westbrook and Lillard as my 2 cash game point guards, because these point guards, I don't love the position on Tuesday, and I don't like the value plays. This Minnesota-Chicago game, it's fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I wish Rondo right now would be like 5.5K. I think 6K, I just would rather – I'd rather go to Rose or Schroeder than Rondo, and Irving, obviously, or I'd rather spend up and even take a shot on the Bledsoe. So I don't want a ton of Rondo. Tim Frazier, 5.6K. I mean, the problem with Frazier is, he had that monster triple-double out of the blue, and he had 55 FanDuel points, and that's like the second night this year he's had over 50 FanDuel points. Like, I just in no way see that happening again. Now, the Pelicans are playing way up in pace against the Golden State, but with Drew Holiday back, I mean, I think Tim Frazier got hot last game, and he got extra minutes. Otherwise, I see him getting in like the mid-20s in minutes on Tuesday. And with that price coming up almost like $700, I don't really want to play a whole lot of Tim Frazier. I mean, maybe I'll do it in a couple tournaments. I'll probably stack that game in case it stays close. But I don't love that play. I think that was more of an anomaly on Tim Frazier's last game. So I'm not going to have a ton of exposure on Tuesday. But I think I might go back and look at that game, look at some game film and figure out if I missed something. But I just think he got hot, and then Elvin Gentry gave him extra minutes. Ricky Rubio, the matchup-proof one. He stinks against everyone. So, I mean, what evidence do we have to suggest he's going to go off on Tuesday? There's none. He hasn't been over 22 FanDuel points in 5 games. He's been below. He had one good game in the last 2 weeks. He had 38 FanDuel points against Charlotte. Otherwise, he's been below 23 FanDuel points every night. and that means not safe, and I don't want a ton of exposure. And I'll maybe throw him in a. He's so cheap. Maybe I'll throw him in a tournament or so, just in case he goes off. But it's hard to be too excited about him right now. I'm telling you, he is going to win someone at GBP soon. It's going to happen. He's going to stumble into a night of 15 assists, and when he's actually making his shot. I mean, the problem with Rubio, we talk about usage rates, right? I mean, his is 17.1%. He's basically in Otto Porter territory. I mean, a point guard with that usage rate, and Rondo's somewhat similar, but even Rondo's is 22%. So yeah, Rubio is just really tough right now. I mean, I'm telling you, they give the ball to Levine, he handles it a ton. Wiggins handles it a ton. I mean, they really don't need Rubio right now. Hashtag trade Rubio. Elfrid Payton, 5.1K. Whatever. Yeah, no thank you. And that's what I mean with point guards. Like, that's it. Like, Andrew Harrison's 4.2K. So if you want a value guy, I guess he would be it. He could give you 20 to 25 FanDuel points, and if you need to save, you can look there. But that's about it for point guard. Shooting guard. Shooting guard's not extra juicy on this slate either. CJ McCollum's the top guy, 7.6K. OKC at Portland. I do like the fact that if Oladipo is out, that means because Oladipo's a good defender. Then I like CJ McCollum a little bit more than I do otherwise. I mean, Anthony Morrow defense, yeah, you can attack the heck out of that. Just drinking some water, guys. My voice is getting hoarse. So McCollum on Monday night, he was okay against the Clippers. One-trick pony, like he always is. 25 points, 32 FanDuel points, and he needs to give you 30, at least 35 to feel happy about it. He usually gets somewhat close to that. He's okay if you want to use him in cash, especially if Oladipo's out. I'm fine with it. I don't love the play. I'm probably going to go two kind of lower value plays on Tuesday at shooting guard. My boy D Wade is up next. Minnesota. I'm always surprised that because I don't think Zach LaVine is a great defender, and also Minnesota loses every game. So how can they be that good defensively? But Minnesota gives up the fourth fewest points to shooting guards. Doesn't worry me too much. Just something to consider. Like I've been playing a little Wade this year, not a ton, but he's been good. He's been, quite honestly, I never thought he'd be this good this year. He's been, even on back-to-backs, the numbers have been obviously the production goes down a little bit, but first of all, they are not on a back-to-back on Tuesday. But the usage rate is still phenomenal. It's at 30%. It's the highest on the team. It's higher than Jimmy Butler. And look at the last 5 games he's played. 39, 35, 35, 45, 36, 30, 42. I took you back more than 5 games. So, you could make a case that he's safer than CJ McCollum in some cases. Now, on Tuesday, if I had to choose in cash, if Oladipo's out, I guess I'd prefer McCollum, but it's close. Like Wade, the difference between Wade and McCollum is Wade's not a one-trick pony. Like, Wade's going to get you actual points, but he'll get you some boards. He's going to get you assists because he runs a lot of that offense. He'll also get you, occasionally a block and some steals. And that's why, if Oladipo's playing, I would probably lean Wade. So, watch the news there. Wade's still a fine play on Tuesday. Remember, it's similar to, sometimes it's fine just to play a guy that's you can pencil in for 35 FanDuel points or so, and I think that's Wade's floor. I think he's going to get you between 30 and 45 on Tuesday, and some nights that's all you need. His price has come up a little bit, so he's not an elite play on Tuesday, but he's fine. Klay Thompson, 6.6K. Look. If I had a crystal ball, I'd tell you which Warrior to play. I don't know when they're going to go off. Klay, Klay's going to meet us at Magic Mountain with Eric Bledsoe. Because the last 3 games, 40, 11, and 17 FanDuel points. What are we going to do with that? It screams tournament play only. I don't love this game. I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't know how the Pelicans stay close. And Klay's price has come up because he had that 70-point FanDuel explosion. He had like 60 actual points. So, I don't love the play of Klay here right now. Right now, Klay should be about 6K. Zach LaVine, 6.2K. Yeah, I don't mind this play, and quite honestly, I was looking hard at it for cash. I mean, I don't mind this play because one, I think you guys have heard me mention on the show, the minutes for him are so delicious. He gets like 40 minutes a night, 42, 35, 39, 38, 44, 40, 42, 44. Thibodeau plays all his starters so many minutes, and that's why, anytime you want to play a Levine, or I should say any night like Levine, Wiggins, Towns, and even Gordy Dang, you have to give them a look just because they're locked into such nice minutes, and minutes equal production and equal money. And I don't love the usage rate of Levine, and it's only 23%. That's because you got Wiggins and Towns taking a lot of shots. But this is fine. I mean, I'll probably do a mini stack of this Bulls Timberwolves game where I'll have a Levine Wade as my two shooting guards because they're going up against each other. I mean, Wade's defense has been a little better this year than it was last year, but it's fine. Anytime you're getting 40, I mean, if he gets 35 minutes, that's a bad night for Levine. So anytime guys getting that many minutes, he's going to be in play for me. I think it's relatively safe. Devin Booker, 5.8K. Yeah, I love this Knicks Phoenix game. Devin Booker, he hasn't had an explosion lately. He's got to be coming. He's got to be due. He's been somewhat consistent, 28, 23, 23, 23, 28, 21 the last 6 games. Where are the Knicks? What's the Knicks DVP? Yeah, the Knicks have even though they got Courtney Lee, who's, for his defense, they've given up the 4th most FanDuel points to shooting guards. I think this is a really interesting spot for Devin Booker. He doesn't scream like he's a cash game play, but I love this game so much, this Knicks Phoenix game, that right now I do have him locked in as a cash game guy for me. I don't know if I'm going to stay that way, but I like the play on Tuesday. Evan Fournier is next at 5.5K. I told you can attack these Atlanta guards. So he's coming off a game where he took advantage of the Denver guards. He put up 40 FanDuel points his last game. He's 5.5K, a very fair salary. I think he's going to have another good game on Tuesday. I mean, I was trying to figure out if do I want to go Booker or Fournier in cash. Right now I have Booker there, but I think they're both fine. Tony Allen, 5.1K. His price has come up a little bit. He's been a lot better than I anticipated he could be. When Memphis had all these injuries, I thought they were going to start losing games, and they've been winning because Jermichael got guys, bums, guys who I think are bums, like Jermichael Green, and guys who I think are old, like Tony Allen, have really come through. He's playing lots of minutes, and he's giving you lots of nice production, 26, 33, 19, 38 the last 4 games. So he's pretty safe. I mean, normally that price tag, that would scare me off, but I think it's fine if you want to go that route on Tuesday. I can't argue with that production. Brandon Knight. So now we're digging deep for value, guys. Brandon Knight's 4.4K. If you want some exposure to the Knicks and Phoenix game, you can use him. He's going to be super low owned. The one thing that I like using about Knight are the bench guys on Tuesday. I think his usage rate is, the highest usage rate out of any bench player is Zach Randolph at 30%. Brandon Knight's the second highest with 27%, and then it's Enes Kanter at 25%. So that's one reason why I still like playing Knight in 1 or 2 lineups each night. He's okay. You got Troy Daniels, 4.3K, Courtney Lee at 4K, and that's probably as low as I'll go. I guess if you want to go Hardaway Jr., I guess he is starting now for Atlanta, right? I mean, he's another guy. He's at Magic Mountain with Bledsoe and who's the other guy that I mentioned? I'm already forgetting. Who was there with Bledsoe? Man, now I'm already forgetting. All I know is this: when he does meet us at Magic Mountain, he can't be on the same ride as Bledsoe because he can't be on the big boy rides. He's on like a weaker ride because his he's volatile, but his upside is obviously not nearly as high as those guys. But if you look at his production, man, 28, 10, 19, 19, 19, 27. So he could give you 30 FanDuel points, and at 4K, that's close to 7-8 times value. So he's okay to throw in a lineup or two. He could easily break your heart if you play him. He's done it to me many a nights. Small forward. LeBron's 10K. So you got LeBron and Durant at 10K. I mean, right now the way my salary construction is going, I just can't fit these guys into my cash games. Um, Look, LeBron and Durant, they're always good plays. LeBron's been coming off his best game of the year, 73 FanDuel points against Charlotte. Did not see that coming. Sometimes he has a good game when you're like, that should not have happened. So, I don't know when he's going to go off, but he's always safe for cash, quite honestly. And if you want to use him in tournaments, absolutely. And Durant's the same thing. Durant's had 2 stinkers in a row. Actually, you look at his game log. He's had 6 straight games that for him have been pretty crappy. He's been under 43 FanDuel points 6 straight. That's really shocking. Before that, he was 50s and 60s almost every night. On this road trip for Golden State has been really bizarre. I don't know who the hell is going to be guarding him on the Pelicans. I guess Solomon Hill or some dead man walking like that. So both Durant and LeBron, both fine plays. I mean, if I had to choose one right now, I guess for cash, I just lean LeBron because again, I use the usage rate as a tiebreaker. LeBron has a 33% usage rate, whereas Durant is where's Durant? It's 27%. So that would lead me to go LeBron in cash games. Tournaments, I might lean the other way and go Durant, but both fine plays. Jimmy Butler, he's expensive. He's 9K, but he's very safe. 51 FanDuel points his last game out against Miami. The last few games, 51, 33, 44, 46, 44, 54. As of right now, I just like other games that I want to attack more on Tuesday. And also, Andrew Wiggins he's a sneaky good defender. Even though the DVP says they're middle of the pack, Andrew Wiggins is a decent defender. I mean, Jimmy Butler's expensive. I think he's okay to do, but I think I'll play him a little bit, but for the most part, I'm gonna go a different direction. And one reason why is the next guy up, Carmelo. I love this Knicks Phoenix matchup, and I am a little worried about ownership because everyone's gonna love the Knicks and Phoenix. So I'm gonna have to find some way to get creative on the lineups on Tuesday. But Carmelo, it's just such a juicy spot for him, and Phoenix gives up the 3rd most FanDuel points to opposing small forwards. My one small concern is that PJ Tucker. They'll put PJ Tucker on him. PJ Tucker shut down Anthony Davis 2 nights ago, or was it last night? I can't remember now. All these nights are blending into one. But I think that's more that Anthony Davis is a tin man and has no heart. So I think Carmelo is an elite play at 7.8K, and cash games, sure, and tournaments, absolutely. Andrew Wiggins. So Wiggins' price has come down. It's 5.9K, and he's going to get some Jimmy Butler defense. And for the most part, normally that would lead me to not want to play Wiggins. But I need to find a way to differentiate my lineup somewhere. Wiggins might be the guy to do it in tournaments. As I mentioned with Levine, if a guy who's going to get 40 minutes, who's going to have he has a 28% usage rate, he's going to get a lot of shots up. So let's say he only makes 7 out of 20 shots. Okay, that's at 5.9K. I could probably live with that. Hopefully he'll shoot better, get to the free throw line, do some other things. But I don't like him for cash games, but for tournaments, I'm gonna have a little exposure. I gotta find a way to differentiate my lineups. Mo Harkless, 4.9K. He put up a stinker on Monday night. 32 minutes. That was fine. Only 14 FanDuel points. My other boy went off. Evan Turner was the guy who went nuts for Portland at small forward, and Mo Harkless didn't. But with that said, he's still, I think, relatively safe in this up and down game. Portland's going to be on a back-to-back. So Mo Harkless is fine at 4.9K. Evan Turner, 4.5K. Harkless is usually my cash guy, and Turner is my tournament guy for these Blazers, and I'll probably stick to that again on Tuesday. PJ Tucker, I mentioned him. He's getting a lot of minutes now. He's 4.4K. 42 minutes last game. That was mostly because they used him exclusively to defend and shut down Anthony Davis. And he put up 32 FanDuel points. He's played 42, 25, 34 minutes last 3. Now, his production hasn't been consistently great, but he's dirt cheap. If you need a value guy, he can hit some open threes, get some garbage buckets. He's okay to play. And right now, I'm thinking about using either him or Cephalosha in cash games. Next guy up is Cephalosha. He's 4.3K. He's now starting for the Hawks. They finally benched our Valentine, Kyle Korver, because they realized, look, if you're not going to make shots, Kyle Korver, I mean, even we can't just have your pretty face on the court for no reason. You're not distracting, any of the players. So Cephalosha starting, and he's playing well. 28, 26, and 25 FanDuel points. And at 4.3K, that's exactly what I'm looking for. On Tuesday, I need some value guys. Oh, you know what? As I mentioned him, I forgot to mention one other guy, shooting guard, and that's Anthony Morrow. At the top of the show, I mentioned if Oladipo's out, I will probably be using Anthony Morrow in cash games at 3.5K at shooting guard. It's a great way to save. But Cephalosha is another guy. I have him right now. He's in my cash games right now at 4.3K. I think it's just a nice, safe play. Normally, I love playing the value guys when they're playing up in pace. So that's one thing that's giving me pause. And if I do, at the end of the day, go PJ Tucker over Cephalosha, it'd probably be because I like the pace of the Phoenix Knicks game instead. Aaron Gordon, another guy that we could look. If Serge Ibaka, if Vucevic and Bismack are out, maybe we go Aaron Gordon in cash. Maybe he's the safest out of all these low value guys. He's been playing a little bit better. 25 FanDuel points his last night out. Just pay attention to the injury news. And Andre Roberson, another value guy. So look, not a lot of values at point guard that I liked. A little bit at shooting guard with guys like Morrow. Small forward, though, does have some value. And that's why I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm spending up at point guard, and I'm going value city, especially at small forward. Morrow's a guy, he doesn't do a whole lot. He's going to get some open looks, though. Maybe he'll get a couple more shots if Oladipo is out. I like the pace of this OKC Portland game, so he's fine too. That's a lot of guys you got at small forward for value. You got Roberson, Cephalosha, PJ Tucker, even Evan Turner, and Mo Harkless, all under 5K and all solid plays on Tuesday. Power forward, Anthony Davis, 11.9K. So he's played Golden State 2 other times this year. One time was like the first or second game of the year, and when he put up 77 FanDuel points against them. He had 45 points, 17 rebounds. And remember the first game of the year when he put up 91 FanDuel points? Those were basically his 2 best games of the year. And yeah, they were. And then he had one other 75 FanDuel point night this year. Other than that, he's been in the 60s and still been really good this year. But started out blazing. Since then, he's had many Tin Man moments, crushed our hearts many nights. He will continue to do so, but he's also going to have good games. The other time he played Golden State, put up 47 FanDuel points. So that's still a pretty nice night for most players. But if you're priced 12K, and I would expect him to go back to something like that. I expect him, he can give me probably 45, maybe 50 FanDuel points on Tuesday. I don't think that's going to be enough. Now, if the Pelicans do stay close, it's probably going to be because of him. So therefore, in a tournament, I'll probably stack him, stack that game, and have some exposure. But for cash games, I just don't see it. And the way that my lineup's built right now, I just don't see him in my cash game lineup. Even though you can do it, I think you can do it. But right now I'm not. Paul Millsap, 8.3K. He's been really good since he's come back from injury. 56, 46, and 40 the last 3 games. His price has come up a little bit, but rightfully so. What's Millsap's usage rate? I know it wasn't as high as I wanted it to be. Yeah, it's down to 24.5%. That needs to be higher. I don't love the pace of this game against Orlando. And Orlando does surprisingly, defends that position okay. So it's not an elite spot here for Millsap. I'm trying to figure out what his ownership level is going to be. I can't get a good gauge on it yet because I don't know all the injury news. But I think he's going to be relatively low owned. So I think it's going to be somewhat of a sneaky play, as sneaky as Millsap can be. I probably wouldn't do it in cash on Tuesday. Kevin Love, 8K. So start of the year, using him in cash. Then I went away from him, and now I'm in the kind of. I don't know what to think about him. I'm still using him because I still think he's always going to be in play. The problem with these Cleveland guys is you never know. LeBron his usage is so high, and then you got Kyrie's. They're both over 30, and then you have Love down at 26%, which is still fine. It's just not as good as the other two. And he's kind of some nights just gets their leftovers. And I'm not going to use him on cash on Tuesday. I'm going to have a little exposure. He does have 50 FanDuel point upside. I actually think he's got a nice matchup here against Memphis. I think JaMychal Green or Zach Randolph, whoever the hell is going to guard him, has difficulty staying with him on the perimeter if he's going to be getting some three-point shots. So I could see Kevin Love put up a pretty nice number here. It's just I'm probably going to do it in tournaments only. Porzingis, coming off maybe the best game I've ever seen him play on Sunday night, where he had 59 FanDuel points and seven actual blocks. He was so good. And it just makes me wish they would just trade Carmelo, maybe more importantly, trade Rose and feed Porzingis more. I mean, the one bad thing is I think he was like 7.3K about a week or two ago. Now he's up to 8K. So he's more expensive than Draymond Green. He's the same price as Kevin Love, and he's right in there with Millsap. And maybe that makes a couple other people look the other way. Not me, though. I think now I don't have the cash for no pun intended, I don't have the cash to use him or salary to use him in cash games on Tuesday right now. But an elite tournament level play in this Knicks-Phoenix game, I mean, I'm trying to think. The Phoenix put PJ Tucker on Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis just got scared of him. It was sickening. I mean, that buster. But like Porzingis is 22 feet tall. He'd have like 2 feet on PJ Tucker. So I just don't see PJ Tucker being able to handle Porzingis if that's what they try to do on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm going to use Porzingis in tournaments, and I'm going to make money off it. Draymond Green, tournaments only, 7.8K. All those Warriors, whatever. Serge Ibaka, 6.2K. I like it a hell of a lot more if Vucevic and Bismack are out, because then he's going to get more shots and things could open up for him. He's a guy, with the disgusting usage rate. It's only 20%. Even though he's been really good. 37, 26, 21, 25, 48, 26, 29, 35. So not really good, but he's been relatively consistent. And he's a guy that's been relatively safe with some decent upside. Similar to how I talked about Eric Gordon yesterday. And wow, speaking of Eric Gordon, I know a lot of you guys played him. Man, he sucked for the first 3 quarters and was crushing us. He put up 18 actual points in the fourth quarter, and I think ended up with like almost hitting value on Monday. But so I'm totally fine with Ibaka, and I really do like the play if any of those guys are out, Vucevic and Bismack. Zach Randolph. So to me, this hinges on whether or not. Oh no, because Marc Gasol is out. So I need to see who's starting. I would assume Randolph's got to start with JaMychal Green, right? So that means Randolph's going to be in play for me. I think he's quite honestly at 5.7K with a 30% usage rate. He's fine for cash games, and he's going to be fine for tournaments on Tuesday. Normally he's got a limited upside, but who the hell else is going to shoot for Memphis? So, they ran their entire offense through Marc Gasol. I could see them doing a similar thing through Randolph. Randolph's not nearly the same amount of as good a passer, but they're going to need someone to score, and Randolph could be that guy. Taj Gibson, 5.5K. Just if you want to pivot and be a little different, he's fine. The ceiling is not great for him, though. JaMychal Green's 5.5K. Same thing with Randolph. He's going to get lots of minutes. He's similar to Tony Allen. He's been playing really well, and I can't argue with the production. 29, 20, 29, 30, 33, 28, 39. So quite honestly, if I had to choose between Randolph and JaMychal Green, maybe I go JaMychal Green in cash games and Randolph in tournaments. But I do want to see who's starting for Memphis because they could do some weird things. Gorgie Dang, 5.5K. He's unfortunately in Otto Porter territory with a 16% usage rate. And he's the one Minnesota starter that doesn't get tons of minutes. So I guess Rubio doesn't either. I guess really it's only Wiggins, Levine, and Towns who get the almost 40 minutes a night. But Dang still gets in the low to mid 30s, and he's still fine. I think it's weird to say, but he's probably not as good a play as JaMychal Green or Randolph on Tuesday. So, if you want to pivot and get someone a little lower owned, he's going to be overlooked on Tuesday. He does. I don't know. He could get you maybe a ceiling of maybe 35 FanDuel points. And, the Bulls, this was caught me off guard. They give up like the 6th most points to opposing power forwards. I think of Taj Gibson as like a really good defender, so that's a little surprising. And the Bulls don't play at a really high pace, so maybe that says that Gorgie Dang's a better player than I originally thought. But he's fine. I don't love it. Enes Kanter, I mentioned the top of the show. I'm going to be using a ton of him on Tuesday, especially if Oladipo's out. The minutes have been starting to come up, and I think Billy Donovan is starting to see that he's got to give Kanter some more run. 25 minutes last game, 28 FanDuel points. Granted, the two before that, the minutes were not that great. And now I'm looking at the game logs, and now I'm thinking maybe it's just super late at night and I'm just delusional because the minutes have still been he's at the roller coaster. He's at Magic Mountain with Bledsoe, with Tim Hardaway Jr., and whoever the other guy, I can't remember. This is upsetting. I could have swore that I was looking at data earlier, and Kanter's minutes were on the rise. Maybe I was just looking at like overall minutes and not a game-by-game log. Game by game, they still are up and down, 25, 14, 15, 30 minutes the last four. But he's a fantasy point per minute guy, and they're playing Portland. We attack Portland bigs. We especially attack Portland power forwards. So maybe let's not go Kanter and cash. That's probably not safe enough. But I think he's fine for like single entry tournaments, and I think he's an elite play for a GPP, like the tournaments like the Slam or the Rebound, the Assist, whatever tournaments you're playing on FanDuel. Kanter, come on, Billy Donovan. Let's give him minutes. Let him do what every other player gets to do in the NBA, and that's eat the Portland power forwards. So I love the play for tournaments. Alex Len, I think he's banged up. So make sure he's playing. I guess we got a Magic Mountain crew. I mean, it's going to be a long line. We're bringing it. First of all, can they even go on rides? These are tall individuals, right? Can NBA players, can they go on roller coasters? I don't know. Alex Len's over 7 feet. But I mean, look at these last 3 games, 14, 42, and 13 minutes. 14, 42, and 13 FanDuel points. The minutes have been 15, 34, and 16, and that's because some nights Tyson Chandler gobbles up all the minutes. So tournaments only. I do love the matchup, but I don't trust the minutes, and that sucks. And he might be banged up. Other than that, for power forward, Ed Davis. I know some of you got played by Terry Stotts on Thursday or on Monday because Ed Davis. I think he started, but he only got 14 minutes. So Terry Stotts can do that. So Ed Davis, tournaments only, probably. Let's move on to center. I feel like it's been a long show, even though it's only 6 games. All right. So Gasol's out. Karl Anthony Towns, 8.8K. Right now, I have Towns locked in as a cash game center for me. Even though Robin Lopez is a pretty good defender, you can attack him. He doesn't have the athletic ability to stay with Karl Anthony Towns, especially if Towns gets him out on the perimeter. Maybe they I don't know maybe they bring in Felicio to play some extra minutes. Maybe they put Taj Gibson on him. I'm not sure, but I think Towns is as an elite level matchup. And right now I do have Towns locked into cash games. I think he's a pretty safe play for Tuesday. Also, obviously very, very good for tournaments as well. Dwight Howard, 7.6K. I never play Dwight Howard. I just haven't been doing it, and I guess he'd be at Magic Mountain with us. Maybe I did not realize how many players are going to be at Magic Mountain when I was starting the show with that theme. That's why you listen to the show. You listen to the judge. You never know what's going to happen. Now all of a sudden we got all these NBA players going to Magic Mountain, riding these roller coasters, doing these upside down, wheel these things. I'm sure one of them is going to fall off and break his leg, and then then it's going to be a big deal. The whole team and the general manager is going to sue Magic Mountain. They're going to be out of business. It's going to be crazy. Liability issues. Got to put my lawyer hat on. So Dwight Howard, I don't know. Whatever. If you want to throw him in a tournament, go ahead. He's not going to get the ball offensively. His usage rate's 20%. That's actually higher than I thought it would be. Schroeder's not passing anyone the ball apparently, but it's okay. I mean, I don't know. I guess one way to look at it, right, is if Vucevic and Bismack are out, who the hell is going to be playing as center for Orlando? Is Ibaka going to be playing center? I mean, in theory, Dwight Howard should be able to gobble up 20-plus rebounds. So maybe you throw him in a lineup or two. Mason Plumlee. Dude, the Plum Dog, he always goes overlooked. 46 FanDuel points against the Clippers on Monday. If you listened to last night's show, you heard me say you can attack the hell out of DeAndre Jordan. He is not a good on-ball defender. And Mason Plumlee took him to school on Monday night. It was artful to watch him work, especially with the assists and the blocks and the steals. He was great. 5.9K. Tough matchup here, though. Steven Adams is no joke. So I don't love the matchup for Plum Dog here. And quite honestly, I'd probably rather go Adams than Plumlee in cash games. But for tournaments, you can do it a little bit. Tyson Chandler, 5.3K. Similar to Len. I mean, I guess if Len's out, then he's fine for cash. He had a monster game, the best game I've seen him play in a few years against the Pelicans. 36 minutes, 14 points, 21 rebounds, 37 FanDuel points. I don't expect that again. But the Knicks have no one at center. Joakim Noah is a dead man walking. I think Kyle O'Quinn's, questionable with an ankle issue. So he's okay to do. I still would probably prefer Steven Adams at 5.3K to those other guys in cash games. I love attacking the Portland bigs, right? So the center position is not as juicy to attack as power forward, but you still can attack the center position. Steven Adams, I've used him the last two games he's played, and he's rewarded the Judge swimmingly. So I think it's only right for me to reward him with a lineup roster spot on Tuesday. 33 and 38 FanDuel points last two games. He's starting to the thing that he wears this monster cast on his hand. That's why I call him Edward Scissorhands, because sometimes he has trouble grabbing the rebounds and grabbing passes from Westbrook. And also it's super annoying when a rebound's coming off and it's going to go right to Steven Adams and Westbrook, because he's on this triple-double, madness right now. Westbrook comes out of nowhere and steals the rebound out of Steven Adams' hand, and Steven Adams is totally cool with it. That super annoys me. Steven Adams should be averaging about 13 rebounds a game, because there's four. I'm not kidding about this. There are 4 or 5 rebounds every game Westbrook steals right from under Steven Adams' nose. But 5.3K, he's perfectly fine. My sneaky ninja play is going to be Robin Lopez. I mentioned this yesterday. A lot of these elite centers are not good defensively. Karl Anthony Towns is not. Robin Lopez, as long as he gets minutes, and I am a little, and I'm saying tournaments only because I am a little nervous that Hoiberg doesn't play Lopez a lot of minutes, because on the perimeter he's just not going to be able to stay with Towns. But if he gets minutes, he's going to put up numbers against Towns. He's going to abuse him down low. Tristan Thompson, 5K. You can do it if you want. It's relatively safe. Then other than that, Joakim Noah, I'm probably not going to go near. And then I guess if O'Quinn's out, Guillermo Herno Gomez, whatever that guy's name is, if you want to do it, go ahead. And that's it. All right. So I think this is going to be a really nice slate. I think injuries are going to tell us a lot on Tuesday. Hopefully we find out the news early on, and that could open up some nice value. It's a nice little slate. Hopefully it helped you. Got you thinking about it. Your mind's percolating right now. Let's attack it. Let's make some nice money on Tuesday. I can't tell right now if it's right now. I like my cash game lineup. So even though it's only 6 games, I think you can have a cash game lineup and still play tournaments on Tuesday. A lot of times on 5 to 6 game slates, I'll only play tournaments, and I'm still mostly a tournament guy anyway. But I still think you can do both right now, because there is a little bit of value that's opened up. So right now for the Judge and cash games, I'm spending up at point guard. I'm going value city at shooting guard, small forward, and power forward, quite honestly. And then I'm going Towns at center. So, all right, that's it. That's the show. So again, hope you guys had a good Monday, made a lot of money. I know a lot of you did, which is great. Let's continue it on Tuesday. And with that said, court is adjourned.